Hi guys, sorry to interrupt your video. Just a quick plea, subscribe to my channel please. If you haven't done it already, subscribe. Tell your friends, subscribe. Thanks. Me again. Right, this time, Theory Test Pro, you know how to find it, it's on my website. We're going to do Alertness. Ta-da-da, Alertness. Now, most of this stuff is just common sense, isn't it? Vast majority of this. Anyway, let's crack on. There's not many questions in this one. So, begin. You're driving your car. When may you use a handheld, a mobile phone? Right. The only time you can use that is, well, alright. Okay. Doesn't say whilst moving. So you're receiving the phone call. No. When you park safely. Yes. When you're driving at less than 30, no. When your car has automatic transmission, no. The only time you can use it whilst moving is in an emergency. Alright, so you must be parked and you want your engine switched off as well, just to make sure, because otherwise if the engine is still running, then technically you're still in charge of an active car holding a handheld phone, so you could still get done even though you're parked. Okay, so make sure you turn the engine off. There you go. It's illegal to use a handheld mobile phone while you're driving except in a genuine emergency. Even using a hands-free kit can distract your attention. Park in a safe place when receiving or making a phone call or using text messaging. Then you'll also be free to take notes or refer to papers. So that's nice. 2. You're on a long motorway journey. What should you do if you start to feel sleepy? Right. Well, before you start dozing off, let's have a look. Play some loud music. Only if you're really into it. Stop on the hard shoulder for a rest? No. Drive fast to complete your journey sooner? No. Leave the motorway and stop in a safe place? Perfect. The best thing to do is always take a kip. So get off at services, have a break, grab a coffee, rest. That's better than anything else. In the meantime, you can open a window and get some fresh air into the vehicle. That'll help. And doing a commentary drive. You guys have often seen me when I'm teaching to do a commentary about what's going on. A commentary drive is a fantastic tool for keeping you awake and alert whilst you're driving. You're waiting to emerge from a junction. The windscreen pillar is restricting your view. What should you be particularly aware of? Right, well, you've got this view. It's quite narrow. Lorries, nah, that would stick out easy. Buses, again, massive things. Motorcyclists, they could disappear behind the view. Coaches, again, massive. So motorcyclists are things. When I'm coming up to a junction, if I've got a pillar blocking my view, so there you go, so I've got something like, I will actually lean forward and look either side of the pillar as I'm coming up to junctions, just to make sure, because something can be hidden there and it can be quite substantial. One of the test routes that we've got in Farnborough comes up to a roundabout and the pillar sits in exactly the wrong place for the roundabout, and you can lose an entire car. Some of my students have failed mock tests for coming up that junction, failing to see that there's a car coming round the roundabout because it's hidden by the entire pillar. So get mobile. Windscreen pillars can completely block your view of pedestrians, motorcyclists and cyclists and cars. You should take particular effort to look for these road users. Don't just rely on a quick glance. Yeah, backwards and forwards as you approach a junction, please. You're travelling along this road. How should you pass the cyclist? Well, remember, they could flip out, crash, do all sorts of stuff. Again, it's in my document and video about overtaking. Go and have a look. But sound your horn as you pass, because you want to scare them into bushes, presumably. Keep close to them as you pass to blow them into bushes. Leave them plenty of room as you pass. Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it? And change down one gear before you pass. How will the gear affect their safety? What? Stay wide. Cyclists, they can wobble, swerve, go around potholes, raise drains. Look well ahead and make sure you are not being overtaken yourself before you go for an overtake. You're turning right onto a dual carriageway. What should you do before emerging? Right, so this means this bloke's going to go out into there and then turn right and go up there. So there's an area in the middle of the road. He's got to check to see how big this gap is, because if he goes out and just stops with the back of his car blocking that lane and another vehicle turns up whilst he's waiting to go that way, he could get his car destroyed. So you've got to check to see how much room there is in the central reservation. If you can get your entire car in there, so you're not going to get hit on the back, then you are welcome to do it one part at a time. Do this part of the road, then that part. But if there isn't room for your entire vehicle, then you have to do the whole thing in one move. So let's have a look. Stop and apply the parking brake and select low gear. Oh, well, if you want to, depends on traffic, doesn't it? Position your vehicle well to the left of the side of the road. How will that happen? Check that the central reservation is wide enough for your vehicle and anything you're towing as well, remember. And make sure that you leave enough room for a vehicle behind. Well, yeah, but it's basically the central reservation. There are objects hanging from your interior mirror, such as a air freshener, for instance. Why could this be a hazard? Well, there's enough stuff blocking your view already with pillars and things like that. You don't need extra stuff hanging down, do you? So your view could be obstructed. Your sun visor might get tangled? No. Your radio reception might? No. Your windscreen could mist up more easily? No. So, it's vision. The more stuff you hang down, the worse you can see. Why should you switch your headlights on when it first starts to get dark? Well, headlights are for seeing and being seen. So even though we can see quite well, if you're driving a grey car on a grey road, on a grey background in a grey sky, some headlights would make it easier for people to see you, wouldn't they? So, make your dials easier to see. Well, yes, it would in an older car, but that's not the issue. So others can see you more easily. There you go. So that you blend in with other drivers. No, because the street lights are lit. No. So your headlights and tail lights help others to see you. It may be necessary to turn on your headlights during the day if visibility is reduced, for example due to heavy rain. In these conditions, the light might fade before the street lights are timed to switch on. Be seen to be safe. That's a good one. What's most likely to distract you while you're driving? So, using a mobile phone? Well, that definitely would. Using the windscreen wipers? Not really, you just flick a switch. Using the demisters? Well, that will distract you, but not as much as a mobile phone. And using the mirrors? No, not really, that's just part of driving. So, mobile phone. Except for emergencies, it's illegal to use a handheld mobile phone while you're driving. Even using a hands-free kit can severely distract your attention. You're driving on a wet road. What should you do if you have to stop your vehicle in an emergency? Let's have a look what their options are. Apply the parking brake and foot brake together. Never do that. Keep both hands on the steering wheel. Sensible. It is an emergency after all. You are stopping, so I would keep both hands on the steering wheel. Select reverse gear. No. Give an arm signal. Too busy. You're trying to stop. Both hands on the steering wheel, please, because if you're braking harshly, the car might have a wobble, and you need to be in control. Oh, here we go, some tipulatas. As you drive, look well ahead and all around so that you're ready for any hazards that might develop. If you have to stop in an emergency, react as soon as you can while keeping control of the vehicle. Keep both hands on the steering wheel so you can control the vehicle's direction of travel. Marvellous. What should you do when you move off from behind a parked car? Right, let's have a look. Give a signal after moving off. It's a bit like shutting the gate after a cow's escaped, isn't it? Look around before moving off. Well, that makes sense. What should you do when you move off from? So look around before moving off. I like that. Yeah. Check around the car. Look around after moving off. Well, you might well have already hit something by then, so that's not so great. Use the exterior mirrors only. Well, no, don't limit your vision. Out of all of those, the one that makes the most sense is look around before moving off. Before moving off, you should use both the interior and exterior mirrors to check that the road is clear. Look around and check blind spots. If necessary, give a signal to warn other road users of your intentions, especially if you're coming out from behind a car, because it's just as your nose sticks out, they'll see the little indicator go. Also, look well ahead, as you'll have to steer out into the road to pass the parked car. Quite right. When do windscreen pillars cause a serious obstruction to your view? Well, whenever you need to look behind them, really. So they're over here, aren't they? So when you look off at a sign, so what are we doing then? When you're driving on a motorway, not really. I don't find it a big problem. When you're driving on a dual carriageway, no. When you're approaching a one-way street, not particularly. When you're approaching bends and junctions, yes, because I need to look left and right at junctions, and there's a pillar in my way. So I'm going with that one. Windscreen pillars can obstruct your view, particularly at bends and junctions. Look out for other road users, especially cyclists, motorcyclists and pedestrians who can easily be overlooked. Quite right. What should you do if you can't see clearly behind you when you're reversing? Right, open the window and look behind. There's an option. Open the door and look behind. That's another option. Look in the near side mirror. Well, you could, but alright. Ask someone to guide you. Well, if there's someone there, that's the best one, isn't it? If that's one of your options, you've got to go with the options that they give you. This is the thing that often people fall down on the theory test. They just look and go, well, I could do that, I could do that. But you want to look at it from, out of these four, which is the best? And if they're giving you someone to ask, I'll ask that person to guide me. If he wasn't in there, then I'd pick one of the others. But he is in there, so therefore I'm picking that one. If you want to turn your car around, try to find a place where you have good vision around. If it's impossible, then, and you're unable to see, then get someone to guide you. Or get out and look. Right. What does the term blind spot mean? Right, so basically it's an area where something is obstructing your view. So an area covered by your right hand mirror? No. An area not covered by your headlights? No. An area covered by your left hand mirror? No. An area not visible to the driver? Yes. So for instance, if you were sat in the driver's seat and you looked across, you would see me sat next to you while I would be blocking your view of something that's behind me, so therefore I would be creating a blind spot. The mirror creates a blind spot, sorry, the pillar creates a blind spot. Well, behind the mirror is a blind spot. Basically anywhere where you can't see is a blind spot, because you are blind in that spot. What's likely to happen if you use a hands-free phone while you're driving? Well, could have loads of stuff. Right. So it will improve your safety. It will increase your concentration. It will reduce your view. It will divert your attention. Out of all of those, if you use... Oh, there we go. What's likely to happen if you use a hands-free? It will divert your attention. If you're mucking about with your phone, you're not looking at the pedestrian that's walking out in front of your car. So talking to someone while you're driving can distract you, and unlike when someone is in the car with you, the person on the other end of the mobile phone is unable to see the traffic situations you're dealing with. They won't stop speaking to you even if you're approaching a hazardous situation. You need to concentrate on your driving at all times. Absolutely right. If you're driving on a hands-free kit, talking to someone, and something happens, just tell them. Just say, wait there a second, I just need to deal with this. Deal with it, then come back to the conversation. Sorry, what were you saying? That sort of thing. Your best bet is just to park up and chat with them. I mean, why are you even talking to them anyway?